Hello there, my name is Yudi and this is the Yudi Factor, a program that understands that knowledge is power. And therefore, week after week, we discuss issues and empower you with information to enable you make informed choices, especially when you factor in something you heard on the Yudi Factor into your situation. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the corruption in all of us. And today, we're going to be taking a look at how we all aid corruption, how we all help corruption to grow. My guest is Pastor Femi Fashero of the KICC Lagos, empowering us with information, the different ways that we aid and help corruption grow in Nigeria. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're welcome back, Pastor, on Nigeria's 56th independent anniversary. You talked about Nigeria. You talked about the responsibilities of a citizen of a country and how any government is from God and how if you disobey, you are irresponsible to the government, you're irresponsible to God. In light of what is happening in our country, how corruption, virtually in every facet of our country, how do you think we as Nigerians, even though we want corruption to stop, we are aiding the growth or the stay in our country? What are those things that we do that is helping corruption grow in spite of the fights? So how do we all aid corruption in Nigeria? We're talking about ridding the country of corruption, but I think in a way that corruption is still endemic in Nigeria is because we help it to grow. So how are we doing that in Nigeria?
Thank you so much, ma'am. When we look at this subject of corruption as it relates to a state, I want to firstly clarify that corruption is not a Nigerian thing. Corruption is a world thing. There is corruption in every country. It may be this bad in Nigeria because we don't understand what corruption is. We think corruption is just like an alien, a mosquito kind of that comes in to bite and goes. No, basically corruption is something that we manufacture. Corruption, as it relates to the state, can never be effective if the citizens are not participating. Corruption is a two-way traffic issue. It can never be one way. Someone is supplying it, someone else is receiving it. If you're supplying it and no one is receiving it, it can never be effective. For example, if somebody wants to embezzle money and use their position in government to deprive people of the resources that belong to everybody, they will need a bank to put the money in, for example. A banker will have to participate for that process to be effective. So the citizens have a big part to play, whether in effecting corruption or in making corruption to be something that we can minimize in our society. So we need to have an understanding of what corruption is. We also need to understand that corruption is a two-way traffic thing. Supply-driven or demand-driven. Supply-driven or demand-driven. Somebody in government can say, I want to perpetuate this corruption. He will need somebody to facilitate that. Even if it's a citizen that says, I want to facilitate this corruption, he will need someone in government. Either because the person does not know what they're doing, to make it to be effective. So as citizens, the first thing that I would like to point us to is the fact that we have rights. We have rights. Likewise, government agencies that are protecting the interest of the citizens, they have also been given rights. What to do with the powers that have been given to them, how to use it. Citizens also have rights to understand what belongs to them. In this country, a lot of us do not know what our rights are.
Pastor, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, I have Pastor Femi Fasheru, the pastor of KICC Lagos. He's here talking to us about how we all, as citizens of Nigeria, aid corruption. Okay, Pastor?
I was saying about the rights.
Yes.
I was saying we all have rights as citizens. Someone who has been appointed to serve us is to make things happen for us. We need to understand that. To give us good roads, to give us security. A lot of our nation's money is spent on Nigerian Police Commission, is spent on the Nigerian Army, Navy, Air Force, is spent on the Immigration Service, is spent on the Customs Service, so that there can be security. Now, do we know that it's our right? Because some of us don't even know that it's our right that the government should protect us. So as a result, we are not holding them responsible for that. So the first thing that we need to do as citizens is to understand what our rights are and what the rights of the government agencies, the different government agencies that are supposed to be serving the nation, what their rights are. Now, when those agents know what their rights are, then they can serve the nation. When we know what our rights are, we can demand. Now, corruption is aided largely because we don't know what the government is responsible for to deliver to us. So when our minds are corrupted, when we ourselves do not know what we should expect, then the government may not be responsible. If we know what our rights are and we demand it, then the government will sit up, or the government agencies will sit up. The reason why we bribe policemen on the road is because we don't know that it is our right to use the road freely. And we don't have to pay a policeman to use the road freely because we have already paid the policeman through our taxes. So when the policeman is asking us, what thing you carry? You feel obliged that the only way that you can live there and live there on time and live there possibly without being shot is to pay something. But if I know that I've already paid through my taxes, I won't have a sense of giving. And if I don't have a sense of giving, and we all don't have a sense of tipping and bribing policemen on the road, they will stop demanding for it. And then they will start to do their job. But when we don't know our rights, they think, okay, they can make extra bucks here and there, and that is what their work is all about. And they don't feel pressurized to deliver the services to us. So largely, I believe that the corruption will be reduced in the country when the citizens are aware of what their rights are and they are convinced that the government has been put in place to deliver that. Although the challenges of corruption also goes beyond that. It goes beyond that. Some corruptions are driven by needs, and some are driven by greed. You find people who are corrupt because they are in need. But some people, you can't just explain why this person who has all these things is still stealing something that belongs to everybody. We all have to understand that if we don't wake up and curb corruption and not accept corruption, we will likely be in need. And the sense of need may want to justify why everyone is looking for how to get extra everywhere around. I know we're not talking about the responsibility of the government, but the government needs to make sure that it does whatever it needs to do for the citizens not to be that needy. Poor salary will make somebody to be needy. Instead of them focusing on doing their job, they're looking at how to do extra favor for someone, whoever can pay more or can give more, and corrupt the path of public service to favor those who give them more money. But those who are greedy, they need to be exposed.
So what would you say, because we have watched on TV, we have seen where people have allegedly, use that word, stolen money. And then you see people, instead of supporting the government, these people are, in a way, encouraging it. Because somebody says, okay, even if I steal, I'll get people in my village to get up and come and fight for me.
That is because of the corruption of the mind. It's because of the corruption of the mind. We are made to believe that what belongs to Nigeria belongs to Nigeria and does not belong to us. There has to be information. If the government is going to tackle this corruption and reduce it, the government needs to invest largely and hugely in information dissemination so that the citizens will understand that every dollar that belongs to Nigeria belongs to the citizens.
Pastor, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are talking about how we all aid corruption. Pastor, in this remaining moments, what do you think we can do as citizens of this country to stop aiding corruption? How can we get our citizens to fight for what belongs to Nigeria? How can we get us to look at Nigeria as our nation, not just no be my papa house? Because I think basically our problem is that Nigeria's money is nobody's money.
Yeah.
So people can do whatever they like. So how can we as citizens, with one voice, fight what is evil, what is wicked, what is debased? How can we come together and fight and make sure that Nigeria is no longer seen as a corrupt nation?
It will be difficult for us to fight corruption as a body if we don't have a common knowledge about it and common conviction. So where we start from is for information to be passed down to every citizen of this country. Number one, what belongs to Nigeria belongs to you. When anything is stolen from Nigeria, they've stolen something from you. Nobody likes anyone to steal from him or her.
Yes.
So once we know that this belongs to us, then we will want to protect it because we now know that is our asset. And really, when the roads are good, you spend less on your car maintenance. When the nation is secured, you don't have to have your own Megad. I don't have to have my own Megad. Everybody has Megad on the street. If our resources are managed well, then the cost of electricity will go down because I won't have to have a generator in my house. And likewise, water as well. So once we understand that as long as we allow corruption to take place in our country, the knock-on effect is going to be on us. Our personal finances, our standard of living will be reduced because of that. Once that message is passed down, which is what we see in a place like United Kingdom, they watch over, they watch out for each other because they know that the government is able to support them and give them welfare program because the government has that money. But if it allows somebody to cheat the government, then it's going to be difficult. So, like I said, there is corruption over there, but people are well informed about who owns the money that the state has. They know it belongs to them. So, government does not even have to spend too much money trying to find out who the corrupt people are. The people, the citizens, are the ones who blow whistle.
Yes.
If we blow whistle in Nigeria, do we have protection of the state? Because if I know someone who is corrupt where I work, for example, and I know somebody who is embezzling money, and I blow whistle, will I be protected? The people at the top, do they really, really care about getting corrupt people out of the system? The moment I feel that I'm going to be protected, then I will watch out and I'll blow whistle. If I report a policeman on the road who is taking bribe, what will happen? Will he just be looked at as somebody who doesn't have anything to do, that is reporting, and the guy will be back on that same road tomorrow? These are the things that we need to know. If the government comes out and says to the people, help us so that we can help you, rather than the government saying, help us so that we can help ourselves to do what we want to do for the country. The government needs to make us to feel that they are serving us. Whatever they are doing is for us. We need to be able to know that the dividend is ours. So information dissemination about the need for us to be patriotic, because Nigeria does not belong to a few, but belongs to us. The assets and the resources of Nigeria does not belong to those who are in power. It belongs to every citizen of Nigeria. Once we understand that, we will want to protect what belongs to us. So that is the number one way. Otherwise, it will be difficult to have citizen participation in fighting corruption. The government cannot fight it alone. We can pick up few people here and there, but we know that the issue of corruption is vast, deep-rooted in our system because it has not been fought over the years. So that is very critical. That way, the citizen will not accept corruption. There is corruption acceptance in our country today. That is why when someone comes out to say, I want to vie for this position in government, and it begins to roll out dollars or naira, that is the person we vote for, because we have accepted corruption. If someone is doing something wrong, we hail the person. Corruption can be in a marriage. Someone who is married has some other girls all over the whole place, and his friends are saying to him, you are the guy. You know, because corruption is accepted. Where there is no acceptance, even when you're doing something that is corrupt, you try to hide it. But in Nigeria, we flaunt it. So there has to be a shift, healing of the corrupt minds. Our youth, they have been brought up in this corrupt system. They don't know what it's like to go to a university that has functioning bathrooms. They don't know what it's like to go to a university that has lecture rooms, that has lights in it, that they can read in the evening. They don't know what it's like to go to a university and the state will feed them, subsidize their feeding. But decades ago,
That's the fashion.
some Nigerians enjoy that benefit from the state. But there is a disconnection between that reality and what our youth are facing today. Somebody needs to map it down to say, look, this is not what Nigeria used to be. Back in the days, it was a shameful thing to steal and be caught. But right now, people celebrate thieves. You know, once you seem to get away with it, they celebrate you. So the person is looking for the next hit, and the next hit, and the next hit.
Pastor, thank you so much. So we said never give my pastor a microphone. Pastor, thank you so very much. I'll definitely invite you back because I think there's no end to discussing how we citizens aid corruption, and it is something that we have to keep at it. Keep at it. I'm sure one day it will sink into every Nigerian that Nigeria belongs to all of us. And so now we all join hands together to fight corruption. If not someday, our children, the next generation, might grow up not knowing corruption-free Nigeria. Pastor, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, viewers, you've heard of Pastor Femi Fashoru discuss how we all aid corruption. And the sooner we start looking at Nigeria as our country, not I'm from the south, I'm from the southeast, I'm from the southwest, I'm from the north, I'm from... The moment we look at Nigeria, the way Americans look at America as a nation, they all are Americans. If you ask a Nigerian, where are you from? I'm Igbo. I'm Hausa. I'm from Akwa Ibom. Oh, I'm from the oil producing. We should not be seen to encourage corruption. A Nigeria where we'll see Nigeria as our country and see the next person as our brother. And then we'll join hands together to make sure we live a Nigeria, when we grow old and die, we live a Nigeria that our children will be proud of. Thank you very much for your time. This is My Factor, and you have a wonderful week ahead of you. Goodbye, and God bless.